Hey, welcome to Kenpo University. My name's Al Babinick, and I'm your instructor. And when we did the Kenpo challenge for the knives, there's five knife techniques. At the end of the Kenpo challenges, I tell you guys, okay, do all these techniques together and see what you notice as far as what's similar, what's not similar. All right, we can look for category completion, which is normally what's happening. All right. So I'm going to go over these just kind of quick, all right? There's a lot that I could talk about, but I don't want to make an hour-long video, or 2 hours sometimes. It could be, trust me, on what's similar or not similar or how you do them. I'm just going to go over the basics of some of the similarities and category completion stuff that's in the 5 knife techniques. So, reining lance, there's only one overhead, so it is what it is. All right? You want to make sure, though, when you're doing reining lance, that your hand is coming up, you're getting your parry. Make sure your guide arm stays up, because when the guy comes down and he's trying to hit you, if you just start to parry, he could turn and stab you. He could just turn and stab or stab you in the leg instead of him. So just remember on reining lance, it's an overhead knife, that you're doing your parry, bring your hand up as your guard, and then you could just slide this right in. And wherever this points, if this is pointing to his thigh, that's where the knife goes. If you're pointing towards his groin, that's where the knife goes. If he starts pulling his hand up, he's going to stab a little higher. But you got to keep that hand in there to keep him from hitting you, all right? So that's the overhead. I'm not going to talk too much about that one. We could, but I mainly want to get on to the other 4. So there's 2 highs, 2 lows, and you could do them from standing even, which is actually more correct, okay? But most people do these from right foot forward or left foot forward, even if it's a little bit. So standing even would be not giving your attacker a target, because they're going to hit the closest thing to you. But if I was doing, and I'm just going to go in order what's first, glancing lance, all right? So if I was a little bit right foot forward, and again, I don't want to be standing like this, I'm just a little bit right foot forward, and the guy has a knife, he's lunging at me, and it's a high. So I'm right foot forward, and the high knife comes in, and we get our grab and break, okay? Remember, never use 2 hands in the same zone at the same time, and keep that elbow cupped so he can't get you. So if I was right foot forward, high stab, it's going to be 1, 2, and I cup the elbow so that he can't he's going to try to cut me in the stomach. You don't keep that elbow in check with the C, then you're going to get sliced open. Now the next one is thrusting lance, and that's against a low knife. And hey, that's right foot forward also. So as my hands are up, I'm guarding my face so that hopefully he goes for the target I'm giving him. So I'm right foot forward, and it's a low. So I'm gonna off angle, use that forearm bone to hit the pressure point, and then grab, shuffle in, get your head butt, or at least make him break his nose on your head, get the groin shot, pull, do the rest of the technique. I'm not trying to teach the techniques today. I'm just showing you similarities or differences. And pretty much I'm just working on the first moves. I'm not even working on the rest of the techniques. So glancing lance is right foot forward, and it's a high stab. Thrusting lance, right foot forward, there's the low stab. Well, what do you know? Okay. And then we have entwined lance. Now, entwined lance, your left foot forward a little bit. Again, you would rather be even, but your left foot forward, you never really want to do this, okay? So, entwined lance, I'm standing here, I lose half my stance, I off angle as I do my right outward block. Now, when you do entwined lance, I teach it this way because it's going to be the easiest way for you to do it, especially if you're doing long 6. It'll help you remember. So as it's coming in, you're going to do your ridge hand, and this hand comes up to my shoulder, and it's palm up. So I'm actually going, as I lose half my stance, and oh, by the way, yeah, I usually do the double just in case. I'll get my grab, then I can step forward, and I'll have my range, and I have backup mass with the chop, or the thrusting sword hand to the throat, okay? So as you're doing it, make sure you off angle just a little bit. So I'm going to be on my line. So if my hands were here and I'm kind of baiting him to go high, that's my hands are low. As he stabs high, I'm going to lose half my stance, off angle, re-grab, and step in. So if you just remember, your first move is that. Okay, start with the ridge. Remember, never give a wrist, right? So if I'm here, if you remember that your first move is get up into this twist, lose half your stance, come back, do the chop grab, and get this hand up so you have a little bit of torque left on that thrusting sword hand. You want that position, that position. You'll do entwined lance fine. So, but entwined lance was a high left foot forward. And then if we look at piercing lance is the low left foot forward. Okay? And again, you shouldn't really have a foot forward, but if you had one, this is going to be foot forward. So it's low with your foot forward. So it's going to be, again, you're baiting the guy to go low. So as you do the chop, get your body off the line, grab that elbow, or grab the hand, hit with the elbow, re-grab. If you're trying to get this in the 3-step version, remember to break his arm up here. Don't break his arm down here, okay? Hook, anchor, pull, and break his arm, break his elbow on your upper thigh, not your knee. If you break it on the upper thigh, you'll get this 3-step version instead of having to do an in-play stance change. So, just hint, okay? So, but piercing lance, I'm up like this, I'm guarding my head, so he's going to go low with the stab. So as I move my body off, there's the chop, there's, by the way, I don't know if you can tell, there's the universal block. So as I move this off to here, I've got the universal, I'm going to go for the grab, spin around, pop, hit him with the elbow, and I try to break his elbow. I try to break the arm here, I try to elbow here. If he lets go of the knife, great. I still have it. Okay, and then remember the rule of don't move your feet until you have the grab. So don't start spinning and start to grab. Get the grab, and then you could do your spin out where you're hooking the head, pulling down, and breaking his elbow on your knee. So, and again, I'm just working the first moves here. I'm not doing the whole technique. So we have reining lance, which is an overhead. Then we have glancing lance and thrusting lance. Those are both right foot forward techniques. Okay? So if you notice, if I'm right foot forward, I have a high and I have a low. I got a high and a low stab, right foot forward. Cool. All right? The other thing you might want to notice is that you have an inside and an outside. So if the guy's stabbing me, if I do thrusting lance, I'm working inside, right? If I do glancing lance, I'm working outside the arm. So I have a right foot forward, high and low, inside and outside versions of techniques. This is the category completion stuff, right? And then guess what with the left? Did you already figure it out? With the left side? So if I'm left foot forward, I've got a high and a low, so I'm covered again, okay? And if I do entwined, I'm on the inside. If I do piercing, I'm on the outside. So I have a high and a low, left foot forward, inside and outside. I have a high and a low, right foot forward, inside and outside. I've got my overhead, okay? If you're saying, where are the roundhouses at? You could change some, and you might have to change some stuff. Some of the roundhouse clubs. So if you were going to do, remember, you never, ever, ever let go of the knife or the knife hand until he either doesn't have it anymore or it's in your control. Okay, control disarm technique is the weapons rule. So if I was doing defying the storm against a roundhouse, I could try to jump in and do that, and I have control of the knife the whole time throughout the technique. If I was doing returning storm, that works too, because I have control of the knife throughout pretty much the whole technique. I just wouldn't do the standard oppose at the end. I would, if you know the extension, I would actually just, after I break and throw him to the ground, I'll just go into the extension, okay? But that's beside the point. So the roundhouses, those two work pretty good. A technique like calming the storm, where you go in and you block and then you let go and then you keep going, and then don't do that. You know, so I wouldn't do a technique where I'm letting go of the knife. I would just change calming into defying, is what I would do. In entwined lance, I don't want to go from the outside to the inside. If he's stabbing me, I'm staying outside, okay? It's just a little something to think about here, is that if my hands were up and he stabbed high, as I shoot this in here, I'm just going to go, I'm done. I'm out. Okay? So I wouldn't want to go on the other side. And if you were doing entwine, any of the knife techniques, you do not do them unless he drops the knife or you have control of the knife. All right? I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go a little sideways. This is entwined lance. So if I'm set for entwined lance, I'm left foot forward a little bit, got my hands low. So as he comes in with the stab, I'm going to off angle and get lower. I get my grab, I step in, I do my chop. And this should be right in between his legs. This should be in his center line, okay? You're going to grab, hold on one-handed, poke, kick, grab, kick, back knuckle. Really? You know, and then finish the technique. I don't want to do that. Okay, again, if he dropped the knife when I chopped him in the throat, or if the knife's in my control, then I would do that. But if he still had a knife, I'm not going to keep switching my hands back and forth one-handed against the knife. Okay, so that's just me. If you feel safe doing it, don't. So, but if I'm here and I'm doing, what am I doing? Entwined lance, as I move off to the side and I step forward with this, I have this, I just chopped him in the throat and I shoved him backwards. His arm is locked. I got this. So I'm just going into defying the storm, and now I can strip the knife out of his hand. Now I have the knife. But I never want to let go of that. I don't want to go, oh, I'm going to grab, oh, I'm going to re-grab. I don't want to do it one-handed without having the arm locked. So that's just me. So I still wouldn't suggest it. If you think you could do it, have your uke actually come in and try to like stab and pull the knife back. Stab and pull the knife back instead of just stabbing and standing there. Okay? I'm not even going to talk about that aspect of the knives. But real quick recap. We've got one overhead, reining. We've got, if you want to do defying and returning against the roundhouses, there you go. You can. Those weren't in the challenge or anything, but there you go. And then glancing is right foot forward, high, outside. Thrusting, right foot forward, low, inside. Entwined lance is left foot forward, high, inside, and piercing is left foot forward, low, outside. So when I tell you in the Kenpo challenges to go through and practice your techniques like this all together and think about them, that's what I'm talking about, okay? Notice this stuff, all right? Think about the system. And again, if there's something you don't feel safe doing, don't do it, right? But if you're not going to do it, make sure that you have a way to do it. Because what if there's a left foot forward high knife and you're saying, I'm not doing entwined mace? Well, you better have something else to take its place, okay? And again, for entwined mace, for me, if I'm standing here and I'm trying to cover myself and he's going to go for the one area over here that he can actually try to get to, then as I step off to the side, get my universal block, again, don't expose your hands, grab the knife, come up, grab the knife, just turn it. There you go, okay? You can do other stuff with the knife. It's not a knife class today. You can do other stuff with it. You can do different things. You don't have to do what I do, all right? But I just know that I don't want to hit him on move number 2 or 3. I want to get him as fast as I can. He's trying to kill me. I don't like that, okay? So, but there's a long explanation on when we do these Kenpo challenges, why you should, at the end, take all the techniques that fit together and look at them, all right? So, I know this is a long one. I hope it made sense. Maybe learn something or 2 or 3 things. Practice your techniques and make sure your uke does a good job so you're doing it right. Thank you for watching this video production from Kenpo University.